and gentlemen, I am very proud to see so a lot of people of you like here in Delhi, in this nice university. And I must explain that it was a dream since years to stay here and to open the gate for young people of India in a high level and a high ranking technical field of space sciences. Let me first tell something about Jesko van Puttkamer, what is the names given today on this event. Jesko van Puttkamer, you see here a picture, was born in 1933 in Leipzig, Germany, what is also the hometown of myself and the International Space Education Institute. He was a child of the war, of the Second World War, and grew up in the south of Germany after the war. And as he saw the towns in ruins, he said, what would with me in the future instead of a brick maker? And he was looking into the sky, and at night he saw a lot of stars, and his grandma explained to him that all these stars are suns with own worlds around themselves. And from this time he started to have the dream to reach the space. It was a long way, so he made his school, he made a university, and in that time he really not have a lot of money, so he financed his school with his dreams. His dream was to reach the space, and in the early 50s and late 50s there was science fiction. Books of science fiction very popular, like Flash Jordan or something, and he wrote books as an author for science fiction. But he studied engineering, and he made his diploma in engineering, and in that time, it was in the early 60s, the American teams around Werner von Braun started to build rockets and wanted to reach the moon. And he was in contact by letters, by written letters with Werner von Braun, and said, and wrote in a letter, Mr. von Braun, I am now an engineer, I have my diploma in my pocket, and I want to be with you, with the rocket people, and build rockets, but I'm very young and I'm a greenhorn, I don't know anything about this, and maybe I should go first into the industry. As this letter came to America, in that moment came the telegram back, and on this telegram was written, please don't go into the industry, come to Huntsville, Alabama, we are going to the moon. This was in 1962. And he said he don't need 2 days to pack his luggages, sit in an airplane and was in Huntsville, Alabama. This is the rocket city of the USA until today, and this is your goal, to go as team exactly the same way. He started there under the team of Werner von Braun to build this Apollo program. He wrote a lot of science books in that time. He calculated the tracks of the Apollo capsule around the moon. He was found out that there are a lot of gravity anomalies, that the moon orbit is not round, it is like an obstacle course. And he found out also if it is possible to make reusable rockets. And after the Apollo program, Jesko van Puttkamer moved from Huntsville to Washington, to the NASA headquarters, and was there the chief of the section of strategic planning. So, and this is what I want to show you now in a picture. Here, this is a picture what Jesko van Puttkamer made in 1969, as the launch was from Apollo 11. You see Cape Canaveral, the launch pad 39, and a lot of people are there and see the first launch of people who were landing to the moon. A little bit later, he went back to his roots as an author for science fiction literature. You see here the bridge of the spaceship Enterprise, what is Star Trek, with Lieutenant Uhura. This is Nichelle Nichols, the artist. Because after the scrap of the Apollo program, NASA needs a new orientation. So this is like what you need also as Indians now. You need an orientation where to go. What is our goal? The goal to the moon was reached And what is the next goal now? The next goal was the new spaceship, space shuttle. And to win the people of America for the space shuttle, he needs the people, he needs the civilization. That's why we are here also now, and to publish that to the public. So he went to his friend Gene Roddenberry. Gene Roddenberry was the author of Star Trek, and asked him if it is possible to make a Star Trek movie together with NASA research. And this was the year as the spaceship Voyager was launching into the deep space. Now Voyager is out of our planetary system and is currently working in St. Data's Bay. And he made as a counselor the first movie with Gene Roddenberry of Star Trek, the first cinema movie. And the reality, this is that. This is the science reality. This is the first space shuttle what has the name Enterprise. It was his work. And here you see the rollout of the Enterprise in the Mojave Desert in 1976. This is the June 1976. Here you see the complete crew of Star Trek, include Mr. Spock, Gene Roddenberry, and the chief of the Marshall Space Flight Center, Scotty, and his crew. They were in the public. A lot of people look at Star Trek, but nobody knows the space shuttle. And so he used public people to promote science reality. And you know, the space shuttle program was very successful. Now we make a big jump into our time. Jeske von Puttkammer was then, after the space shuttle fleet, engaged to build the new space station ISS. He went to Russia. He involved Russia. He involved 12 other countries. In 1998, he became the director of the International Space Station ISS. You know, Space Station ISS is a family of companies, of people, of countries who want to do the things in space. We have a currently station in the orbit and are preparing to find out how to make long duration flights in the space, maybe as a platform to reach the moon back and also the Mars. But what you need is integrity and international work. Let me say the word multinational work. And this was the beginning of myself, of my work with him, because we met in the time as he started to be a director of the ISS. We speak the same language because he was also able to speak German. And sometimes he said, we need international young people to make our next goal, what will be the Mars. The young people who are now under us will be that generation who make it possible that mankind will land on the Mars. This is his big dream. And as a science fiction author and a science reality as engineer, a visionary science, a space engineer, he is always looking into the future and wants to grasp this. And so he invited me and my wife and my team, you see them here on the picture, in the year 2007, to our first competition at the NASA Moon Buggy Race. This is a simple simulation for the hard work what you have to do when you are older and when you are a space engineer to make the things on the space real. But for your level as a student, it is a hard challenge. And you will see tomorrow that the challenge is hard. We make the obstacles not so hard as in America, so that you have time to improve your rover, because everybody has to improve his rover for the USA, because it is a more tough race. That's why I'm here, because since 2007, this NASA Rover Challenge, what has the name before NASA Moon Buggy Race, became then a lot of international interest. We were the first, and then came Canada, also 2 teams from India, and currently the Indian participation was rising. And but unfortunately, 4 years later, our team got the top one, as the best prize, but the Indians were always with their position at the end of the places. And this is a thing what that burns the heart. This is a pain. And you see a lot of Indian teams who are currently working on their rover, but maybe somebody did not read the rules correctly or did understand this not correctly. The first time as Indian students were on the course at NASA, we were not able to understand this dialect. So, and Puttkammer said to me in the year 2011, and this is this picture, as he gave the International Team Award to all participating Indian teams on this event in 2011. And he said to me, Ralf, if you are able to organize in India a pre-challenge to improve, to teach and to counsel the Indian teams, that you can make them fit for the questions of our future, that will be kind. But NASA can't do this. NASA is a US agency, and we must concentrate on our students there. So since that year, I invited Indian students first into our teams, into our multinational teams, and we made in the year 2012 our first competition with Indian participation. And until now, these two pilots, Harshmeet Kaur and Sahib, or Raman Sahib, made the best time of an ever Indian team on this course, because they became pilots to drive one race with a rover what we built together. This rover was then displayed in the museum, in the Space Museum in Huntsville, and became an artist in a very popular movie with the name Space Warriors. This rover is very popular now. And so we learned to invite more and more. Also Jasleen, his sister, Jasleen Jozan, who came to me and asking, Mr. Heckel, can I participate with some of your team? I say, yes, okay. Maybe I want to involve you into our best team, but you must explain me that you give also your best. And this team made in 2015 the place #1 also. So she learned what is high ranking and absolute good work. We went around this race. We went to the University of Huntsville, Alabama. I contacted some professors with her, and now she's studying there and is involved into an astronaut teaching program. And it makes me proud to see an Indian student who is exactly in that place what Jessica van Puttkammer wants. And you see that he is also so engaged to be there, to look to the students, to give hints, to explain how was it at Apollo times, or as they built the space shuttles. He said always, when you want to make the things, you can fail. You can fail again and you try to fail better. But when you go onto the course, when you send the rocket to the space, you must be perfect. And nothing has to be worse. Because only one single screw, what is missing on the rocket, it costs life. It costs life of humans. And this is unacceptable. And this is the same what you should do. Excellence, safety, integrity, and teamwork. These are the 4 core values what you should have, and then you have success. Okay, Jessica van Puttkammer wrote his last book before he went into his space in 2012. The 1,000 Years Project Mars. He explained how to fly, how to land, and how to be on the Mars, and why we should do this. Because you will see also when you go outside of this house, the environment is changing, and we learned that we can change the environment. This is good. Unfortunately, in the past it was negative, and when we are on the Mars, we can do this also positive. We have to rebuild a new world, that we have not the same future as the dinos with a comet and blow everything away. So when we have 2 worlds, then we have the chance to overlive. This is why we need also a second world, maybe a lifeboat. So these are our international teams. So we are a lot. We are present in 22 countries. And for the next 5 years, my mission is to make yourself fit for the top 1 at the NASA Rover Challenge. And I will be very proud that you help me to reach that goal in the next 5 years. Thank you.